So I've got super angry about the organisation BLM, and what I've realised is most black people know nothing about the organisation BLM, that they felt connected to this organisation because it has the word black in it. It's as basic as that. Yeah? Many of my friends have got upset with me about what I said. Many people actually believe in what I said was racist against this organisation. So I thought what better to do than to meet leading activists of BLM, to spend this week travelling the country, meeting different people, debating them, and trying to get to the bottom of what Black Lives Matter want, who they are as an organisation, and to see if anyone actually understands what it is that they're fighting for. The only time, the first time, we've seen actual real racism and threats of violence have come from the young leader of Black Lives Matter in Oxford.
Higher pain threshold. Why do you think kneeling on a man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds will kill him?
I can show you a video now. Of
That's a legal hold, by the way.
I'll show you.
Listen, you just need to shut up, man. You're a coon. You just need to shut up.
Get angry some more and threaten me some more.
Get angry and threaten you some more.
Yeah.
I promise you. I don't threaten you. I promise you.
Promise, okay.
So come out there. Let's live through the promise. Come out there. Let's live through the promise.
Come on.
Come out there and we'll live through the promise. I can promise you now.
Come on.
Come out there and we live it through.
Okay, dude.
You're a coon. Dude, what? What do you mean? Because I'm a girl, you think I'm gonna fuck you up?
Come on, man.
Because I'm a girl.
We're here to
You're here to drive this side out to make it look like all black people are ignorant. Yeah, I'm angry right now because of what's going on. It's made me angry, yes. Just like when he was angry when he thought that his town was being destructed, his city statues were going down. I'm angry too.
Of course you're angry.
Yeah, so why are you calling me dude? What does the dude mean?
And you also
what does the dude mean?
You don't believe stats and facts
what does the dude mean?
It's recorded.
So what does the dude mean? What does the dude mean?
Do you know, I'll be honest.
How am I? You're what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
We're what you are. What we're dealing with.
Overly emotional, angry, quick to violence.
You calling a black woman angry? You're a coon.
Oh,
you don't need to be in this conversation. You don't need to be in this conversation.
You should be able.
How can I racially abuse this man? Can someone give this brother some knowledge? How can I racially abuse him? How can I?
And are black men being killed?
Do I believe?
No, not based on the data.
I gave her ample opportunity there to apologise for the way she behaved. It was disgusting the way she behaved. But she wasn't willing to. She stood by what she said. And then she said somehow we were trying to stereotype her into being the angry black lady. No, she was the angry black lady. And it was disgusting, actually, the way she behaved. Now, crazily enough, everything that Luke had told me in his interview that a Marxist would do, full of emotion, full of anger, quick to violence, the exact reaction Sasha brought. Zero facts, zero evidence, zero research, just emotions and feelings. And that's where my problems come in. What have I said the whole time? I've said that black people are being used by Marxists to cause destruction. What happened when Sasha and Ken was brilliant. What happened when Sasha, Ken and the rest of the Black Lives Matter activists left my house? I received this phone call.
Hannah's my PA.
Oh, okay. For Black Lives Matter work or for work?
Pardon?
For work or for Black Lives Matter work? Like she...
For both. She's used for both for everything in my life.
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, yeah, so what was it you wanted, basically, yeah, what was you asking?
So, obviously, kind of, my concern is just like, I mean, what your kind of opinions of the Black Lives Matter movement. I understand that it's about kind of, you have said that it's creating conversation and having a debate, but I'm obviously worried about what that means for the kind of wider platform and what it means for Sasha.
Yeah, so my purpose is that I don't think that most people out on the street with Black Lives Matter in the UK are aware of what the organisation is and the beliefs that are being pushed by the organisation, which is what I wanted.
And what's that?
Well, if you go on their website, they talk about like smashing the nucleus of the family, getting rid of the family unit. They talk about smashing capitalism. They talk about enforcing and getting rid of the normativity of heteronormativity of men with women. Yeah. All these LGBT things, all these other things which don't have much to do with the black community and equal rights and equality against police and all of these things. So I wanted, because that's why I went on my rant against Black Lives Matter, because of all of these things. It's a Marxist organisation, and I didn't go on. And what I want to establish over the next week is that most of the people in England who are taken to the streets or becoming activists are not actually aware or support any of those ideas. Sasha don't agree with them. The other lad Ken don't agree with them. So
Can I make a point?
Yeah, go on.
I mean, obviously, from kind of my point of view, I mean, you may disagree with this, but I kind of believe, I mean, I don't know how you think about kind of the kind of beginnings of racism and the ideas that it was kind of, actually, if we look at history and we look at how racism is used in a capitalist society, and it's actually used as a very oppressive structure used by capitalists to divide the working class. Do you see it in that way?
No, and I see, like for example, when we're discussing Black Pound Day, which I think is very divisive, and it doesn't have public support. I asked the reason for that, and as Sasha said in the meeting, the reason for it is to give black entrepreneurs and businesses a helping hand. But those black entrepreneurs and businesses, that's capitalism. But yet Black Lives Matter wants to destroy that. Like Sasha says herself, she's a business owner.
She's a what?
She's a business owner. But capitalism, that's capitalism. Young, ambitious black ladies trying to do better for themselves. And
I think it's more about establishing economic security for black people in a capitalist system. But can you not, like, if we look at history?
But I don't think the majority of black people in the UK, especially all of my mates, that whilst they're angry about police and about these things, they're not wanting to smash capitalism. That's a far left idea and ideology. The whole thing.
But I mean, would you kind of say yourself that you represent a kind of working class community?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, and I myself am anti-capitalist, and like you can agree or disagree with that.
Yeah, that's fine, but I don't think the Black Lives Matter movement should be. Not the UK, not the UK black community fighting for equality and justice should not be about capitalism, about communism, about Marxism. It should not have a political weight or a political idea.
Kind of from our point of view, it's the idea that racism has been implemented by capitalists like the working class. We want unity between black and white working class communities, as there has been.
If you remove capitalism, what do you replace it with?
What did you say, sorry?
If you remove capitalism, what do you replace it with?
I think like delving into that is always going to end up in kind of you rebuttaling communism, you rebuttaling Marxism, and you rebuttaling any sort of anti-capitalist movement. I think the wider picture is talking about.
But you have to ask those questions when that's what Black Lives Matter wants to do. Capitalism isn't a perfect system. What I'm asking is, what will replace it?
I think what you'd replace it with is workers' control, and the fact that the working class would be
communism.
Workers' control is about working class people profiting off their own labour and having economic security and being in control of the system.
Yeah.
If you're calling yourself a martyr or...
I'm not. I didn't call myself a martyr.
Okay, a representative of the working class, isn't that something that should be really important to you, about working class people benefiting and being no longer oppressed by these bigger structures?
I haven't been oppressed. I'm from a working class background where most of my friends have been quite successful in the system and benefited if they've worked hard. If they haven't worked hard, then they haven't been as successful. I think all these conversations need to be had so people understand the sort of what's pushing the movement, what's pushing this organisation, which essentially, after speaking to you, what's pushing you is Marxism. It's not Black Lives.
No, it's the idea that black lives are being oppressed and that bigger structures such as the government and big corporations are using racism as a tool to increase their power and maintain their power, because they know if there's white and black solidarity, the revolutionary force.
Well, I'm all for white and black
solidarity. Yeah, and I'd really like to believe that.
No, totally. You know, like I know, like people listen to what I say. When I stand up and I say I've got black friends, people go, oh, he's got black friends. No, I fucking generally have, and I fucking love them. Yeah? And I hate fucking racism, and I hate white supremacy. I fucking despise it. But I just speak openly and honestly on what I see, and that's not racism.
No.
And that's genuine. And I genuinely fucking would do anything to prevent real tensions, which is what I'm reaching out for. It's what I want to show. It's what I want, and essentially I'm searching for answers on a lot of things, and I hope I find them over the next 2 weeks in many meetings with many different people. I'll have to go now, but I'm happy to meet up. If you want to meet up, you've got my number.
And have a conversation.
Yeah, have a conversation. It's all beneficial, because it's beneficial for the argument you're putting across. A lot of people, even who are just on the fringes, they don't even understand it. Do you know what I mean? They don't even understand when someone says they're Marxist, what does that mean? No one really gets it. A lot of people just hear.
I mean, I would consider myself a Marxist.
Well, I'm happy to sit down and have a full-on discussion with you about the pros, the cons, and what's right for this country, yeah, to try and solve problems. So,
okay.
But if you've got my number, if you want to ring up and arrange something for one later in the week, then, yeah. Until.
Okay, well, we'll be in touch, and I mean, even as me, I can act kind of for myself in terms of my political views.
Are you black?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm just kind of I've got kind of a history in politics.
You see, because my issue has been with Black Lives Matter is that there's a white involvement of middle class people. Are you middle class?
No, okay. But I think it's. I understand,
and they are co-opting a black movement that is fighting for black equality, and they're using it for their own political ideologies, like you've said.
And with Oxford, it's been really important for us that it's completely black-led, and I'm working for Sasha completely kind of externally from my political point of view. I can work independently from that, and I can have a conversation with you if I want, from my point of view as a Marxist or my point of view in politics. But the reason I was ringing you was as her working for her, and just making sure that the footage that you have is going to be used in the right way and not undermine the Black Lives Matter movement as a whole.
No. Okay. Cool.
But I mean, like, again, it would be good just to let us know kind of what when your footage is going to be released and what you're going to do with it, so we can kind of prepare ourselves for whatever.
Yes, fine.
And I'm kind of just looking out for her, and I respect the fact that you guys have had a conversation and that you speaking to me. I just kind of
what I said to Sasha is, she said some racial slurs, which I don't think is a fucking good look for her, and I think it was quite out of order. Now I tried to ask her again to give her the opportunity at the end to clear up that she might have been angry and she might have said some things that are wrong, but she's totally stood by what she said, and I don't think it's a good look for her, to be honest.
Is that something that you want to use in your footage?
That I don't know what I'll use. I've got to watch it all back through.
It would just be really good from kind of my point of view to see if we could know in advance, understandably, if that is what you're going to use. Yeah. It would be obviously great if you didn't, because I know that the amazing thing about Sasha is that she's a grassroots activist. She's a working class black woman who hasn't got a history in politics, who hasn't got a history in public relations, hasn't got a history in kind of speeches and, you know, how to contain that anger and passion. And that's why things like that come out. And that's the kind of beauty of it, the fact that she's able to speak from her heart. It wasn't beautiful.
It wasn't beautiful though.
No, of course, but like that's passion and raw anger, and obviously if she'd had training in PR and she'd had training in speech making, that would have never happened.
I know, you shouldn't need to be honest, you shouldn't need training. You just shouldn't use those terms ever. You shouldn't use.
Yeah, I can't defend that.
You can't fight racism. You can't fight racism with racist slurs. You can't fight racism with racial slurs and...
No, I completely agree, and I don't condone that, and I wasn't there. I didn't even know this meeting was taking place, that's why I'm kind of bringing you. Okay. And obviously you've got that footage, you can do what you want with it.
But you'd rather we didn't use it.
But it would just be good to let us know, just so we know where we're at. That's all I'm kind of bringing about, really.
Okay, and what should rather that it wasn't used?
Yeah, but obviously...
Would she be willing to apologise to Luke?
I mean, if she apologises, will that not be used?
Let me. I speak to Luke. Can we speak tomorrow on this? Is that right?
Yeah.
So just to confirm it all, as evidence for everybody, there you heard it. An educated white Marxist is her handler. Okay, that is the person controlling Sasha. These are the people controlling Black Lives Matter. People who wish to use it for their own political force. They can't win at the ballot box. The far left can't win at the ballot box. So this is their tactic. They will use black people's historical grievances. They will use them as a street army to cause race riots, to bring down the system, which is what Marxism needs, to replace it with communism. And you've heard it right there. From my first meeting with Black Lives Matter, we've seen who's in control of Oxfordshire's Black Lives Matter street movement.